So, first of all, I just want to say, Empower Crew, you guys freaking rock. July was one of our best months ever. And I'm just really proud because summer can be really challenging. And you guys didn't take the excuses of summer and vacations and all the things that we can do. You guys just ran with what you could work with. We're all at different seasons of our life. We all have a lot going on. In total, we changed 28 lives. We hit a Success Club of 56 combination. So I think that is totally worth celebrating. Mandy freaking rocked it out, hitting Success Club 12. Mandy, awesome job. I know
Thank you.
Club 10 is kind of where you're trying to set your minimum bar, and she's got a one of 20 for this month. So great job, Mandy. She's rocking it. And is your sister going to be able to get on tonight?
Yeah, I think she is on.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
I think I'm on. I just don't know how this works.
Yay! I'm so glad you're here. So our newest coach. Now tell me, do you go by, is it Shira?
Well, it depends on who you're talking to. If you're talking to Mandy, it's Shira, but everyone else calls me Nashira. So whatever.
Nashira.
I'll answer to everything.
Okay. Shira or Nashira. It's like we have, okay, there we go. Well, Nashira, I'm really glad you're on here and you have decided to start doing this. I think you're going to rock it. So I'm really glad you're on here. Tara, she's sick tonight. She's not feeling good at all, but she hit Success Club 8. Roxanne is back in it. I love it. She's rocking her own journey. She hit 4. Libby hit 6. I know Libby's probably going to be watching this on recording. We got Lindsay at 2, Stacy at 2. Am I forgetting anybody? I think Marsha. Freaking Marsha got 4 as well. So, I know we think we say like Success Club 4, let's say. That's 2 people, you guys. That's 2 human beings. And I always say, like, don't lose the humanness of this. Yes, you might have wanted to hit, Success Club 5 and help 3 people, but you still help 2, like, don't downplay any success, and just in this month, what can you do different? So you're not looking back on last month saying that month sucked. It's, hey, what can I learn from last month to make this month even better? So I'm really proud of every single one of you, and just know that we rock. Okay. Couple really quick announcements. One, if you are an active coach, you should have gotten a promotional code. You get 3 promotional codes this month. You know what's really cool? If your husband's active, you get 6. And if you have somebody else, it's kind of cool. Like, you can actually take advantage of these promotional codes and really progress your business. So, did everybody get their promotional codes? Does anybody have, like, hey, I didn't get mine, maybe wondering? You had to be an active coach. But you guys leverage these, give people that FOMO. Like, I only have 3, but I want to give you 1. And then once you send them it, just say, hey, are you going to use this? Because I got a lot of people waiting. That really helps me kind of towards the end of the month as well. So you leverage those promotional codes, make people really feel like these are special, because they are. You only have 3, or maybe you only have 6, but hey, that's it, So Morning Meltdown is continuing on sale, $20 off. So with a promotional code, you guys, $150, like, that doesn't even make sense in my brain for what people are getting. They not only get the whole pack, this hardcover badass book. Like, seriously, if you guys haven't got your book in the mail, like, it's freaking awesome. I love the dry erase board. Like, what an amazing visual you get. And they get you as a coach and get to be a part of your group. Like, it's pretty amazing. Beachbody for a year, Performance Packer, Shakeology, like, it just makes sense. So look in your back office, see if you can find where maybe their Beachbody on Demand is ending in a month, 2 months, 3 months. It makes sense for them to get a challenge pack now. Reach out to those discount coaches, your inactive coaches, all your old challengers. Maybe they signed up and they just fell off the wagon. We know what life is like. Maybe they're too embarrassed to message you and say, hey, I fell off and I want to get back on. But how cool if you reach out and say, hey, I know life can happen, but I want you to get back in this with me. I've had a lot of people that are just like, you never give up. And they might say, hey, not right now, not right now, not right now. But they're like, you know what? I'm ready. right now, you know, it's been a year or whatever. We know things can happen, but the fact that I never gave up on them is the reason they stick around. So keep in contact with your people. All right, last announcement, $10 off the Recover. This is going to be, so every month I'm going to start doing like a product of the month. And this month's product of the month is Recover. So if you haven't tried it, I'm going to encourage you to try it. Even if you don't necessarily want to do it, get educated on it because it is a really amazing product. I'm not going to go too much into details because you know kind of the basics, but just know that for one, they paid a lot of money to get this stuff, what's called NSF certified, meaning like elite athletes can take this product. It's a certified product that anybody like who is at the elite level. So I have a friend that does CrossFit games. Just every time she goes to a CrossFit game, she has to get her blood work done, saying that she can't take certain things, certain products, but she can take all of ours. She can do our Energize. She can do, because it's all NSF certified. You guys, that's a very expensive certification to get. Not that that's going to sell the average person, but just know that this stuff is pretty awesome. 20 grams of protein, BCAAs. What that basically means is it's just going to help your muscles build and recover. So that's pretty much the gist of it. The best time to take it is right after your workout. And it tastes amazing, and it's a freebie. Like, literally doesn't count for anything. So you can, like, have this amazing chocolate shake after your workout, and it doesn't count for anything as long as you're getting in your workout. So it's kind of cool. If you have any questions about that, let me know, and I'll be posting more about that in their group. So that's it for tonight. Does anybody have any questions or anything in particular that they want to address, talk about, anything, any shout outs, anything they're struggling or successes that they want to share?
I just want to, oh, sorry.
Go.
Okay. I talked to Keyshawn, who, if some of you don't know, she's one of the corporate reps. She's my corporate rep today. And we talked about this using the promo codes and like this no code left behind kind of thing. So I emailed all of my downline, whether they're active, inactive, whatever, and just reminded them that all active coaches got some promo codes. And I would encourage you all to use them because that's great that you can offer somebody a discount just because for you having this VIP account. And if they are not going to, I made a Google Doc. And so they could put the promo codes on this Google Doc so that we can get every single promo code on our team used. So that means I have mine, I have my husband's, I have my second CBC, I have all these different promo codes I got, but I want to use all of those and more. And I want all of them to know that they can do the same. And so I just wanted to create this hype around the promo codes. So everyone put all of theirs in there. And I'm like, okay, just give people the list and they can go in and try them and get the first one that works or whatever. We'll start erasing them when people use them. But just an idea to get your downline. If you have if you have active coaches who aren't coaching, just remind them that they can use the codes.
Oh, that's a really good idea. I actually have got a couple people to like invite their family. They're like, hey, I got $10 off. Do you want to join me? Kind of a good way. And then they can start kind of using it as a business too. So, well, on that note, everybody, let me introduce you to the amazing Erin Decker, because this was my next. So this is our special guest speaker tonight. So I got to meet Erin when it was in January. I got to go out to Utah for a retreat, which, by the way, when those are up, like, get yourself to retreats. Like, they're so much fun because you gain connections with other coaches. Summit, all the coach events, even Super Saturdays or Super Weekends, like, you get to know, even though they might not be like in your downline or whatever, it doesn't matter. Like, you learn from everybody. Like, I learned for so much, and I have such great connections with some great coaches. So Erin is on Team Inspiration. And so I met her out in January, and because there's like, I don't know, a couple Erins, I knew her as just Decker, but it's Erin Decker. But Erin is amazing. She's got 4 kids. She's been coaching for 2.5 years. She is a 2-star diamond. And what I love most about Erin is like her authenticity and just being able to like share even during the hard times. She'll probably share a little bit more about that now, but she recently had shoulder surgery. And if you go look on her social media, that has not stopped her. She's still sharing her journey. She's still doing what she can. I mean, she literally can't even like lift her arm up all the way, but she's not letting it stop her. She's focusing, okay, what can I control right now? I might not be able to do all the workouts, but I can do my nutrition. I can do some of the workouts, and then I can share the process of my journey with my shoulder. So I just love that about you, Erin. And she's just a lot of fun. We had a great time on the cruise. So anybody that's going on the Success Club trips or any of that, we always have a lot of fun. So Erin, I'm going to let you take it away, and you can, tell us about like kind of yourself, your coaching journey, and what you want to talk to us about tonight.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you very much. Yes, I was so excited to meet Shay because I had heard a lot of people talking about Shay at different events, and I didn't know who this person was, but I really wanted to meet her because of how everybody talked about her. So I was really excited to meet her. And like my first time I spoke with her, I think she had her breast pump hooked up through her shirt, and she was just walking around getting some food in the kitchen with her breast pump just going at it. It was so funny. All right. So I started with Beachbody. My youngest turned 4 just a month ago. So right about 4 years ago, it was when I got introduced to Shakeology during my pregnancy with my 4th. I had thyroid cancer during my 2nd pregnancy, found out the same day I found out I was pregnant. I went through 2 surgeries in the next couple of weeks, right at the beginning of pregnancy. And I was on bed rest the whole time, threatening miscarriage, and it was very hard. I gained 50 pounds while being on an IV the whole time because I couldn't keep anything down. I was really frustrated. It took me 2 years to lose that weight, and I got pregnant again the next week. And then the same thing happened with that pregnancy. I gained 60 pounds with my 3rd and was on IV fluids the whole time. With my 4th, I was on a feeding tube, IV fluids, everything, you name it. I threw everything up, and I gained 70 pounds, and I was so mad. I was so mad, and I felt very out of control because I have no thyroid. I could not control my levels. The medication was not working, and I just felt cheated. I had a friend who was a Beachbody coach. I wanted nothing to do with this Beachbody company because I was very unhappy with my body. I did not want anything to do with it. But while I was pregnant, she gave me a bag, and we all know how much a bag of Shakeology costs. But she gave me a bag because I had a feeding tube in. I could not keep down anything. And so she's like, you need this. And it's first thing I didn't throw up. Within 2 weeks, I got to remove my feeding tube, and I became a believer in Shakeology. I am a very frugal mom, and I do not like to spend money on things that cost over $100, basically. So I did not want to buy Shakeology. So I went about it every possible way to find it cheaper. And it wasn't cheaper. Like one time every 6 months, I would get it for cheaper than we do as a coach. But I was determined to not be part of this auto shipment program because I have issues. I also did not want to purchase the program from my friend because I didn't want her to know how desperate I was. So one night I was up with my baby, 2 months old. I had gained 15 more pounds while nursing, and I was so frustrated. I was so frustrated with myself, with where I was at in my life. I was exhausted. My baby didn't sleep. He had sleep apnea that nobody would listen to me that he had. And so I slept in a recliner with him on my chest for 2 straight months, and because I was afraid he was going to stop breathing. And I was watching TV, and an infomercial came on about 21 Day Fix. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I need to do something. So I ordered it. I didn't even tell my husband. I ordered it off Amazon, actually, because I didn't want to go through Beachbody and get a subscription to anything. So I started doing it, and I would get up very early in the morning when nobody was awake and nobody could see me, and I would work out. And I followed the nutrition plan. I drank Shakeology, still buying it cheaply. And that wasn't cheaply, by the way. But yes, I did it for 10 months, just repeated 21 Day Fix over and over again for 10 months, and I lost 70 pounds. So I knew the products worked. I had a total belief in the products, but I didn't want to be part of this community because all I had seen from my friend is posting bikini shots. And I was like, yeah, I'm never going to do that. Like, I don't wear bikinis anyway, but I'm never going to do that. I don't feel comfortable with that. So the biggest part that I realized is that I had lost 70 pounds. I thought that would make me happy, and I still felt like crap. I still felt depressed. I still felt ashamed of my body. I still felt just lost as a mom. I was just struggling to juggle everything, and I just felt like there has to be more. And my friend just happened to say, you're paying a lot for Shakeology. You might as well get it cheaper as this coach. And I was like, okay, whatever. And I wanted nothing to do with coaching. But people were coming and asking me what I was doing because they could tell I had lost a lot of weight, So I started signing people up before I really knew what I was doing. And So I just looked through the back office and found out what I needed to do to get people signed up, because my upline wasn't actually coaching at that time. She had kind of given it up. She was just using it for the discount. And so she wasn't really available. So everything I learned from the back office to get started. And then she added me to the Team Inspiration page, and I just happened to see a post for Micah that said, hey, do you want to earn a better income? Guess what? We're going to do this mentorship. And to get into the mentorship, you had to be an Emerald. So I had to go look in the back office and see what that meant. And I was already an Emerald. And so I'm like, oh, cool, I can do this. So I jumped in and I made it to Diamond within a month and a half. And I just pushed really hard for a while because I wanted this extra income. I wanted to be home with my kids. I'm a nurse. And when we moved away from my hometown, I kept working there because I'd been at that hospital for 15 years. So I commuted 90 minutes to work, and I have 4 little kids. So that was really, really hard. I was only working like 6 to 8 days a month, but it was really hard. I needed to be at home, and I wanted to homeschool my kids, and I just couldn't while I was working. So we set a goal, my husband and I started homeschooling anyway. We worked around work. It was really challenging, but I set a goal. When I make this much, I can quit my job. And I was able to do that in November last year. And I was so excited because I was scheduled to work Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. And I'm like, forget that crap. I am not doing this anymore. So that was my goal, to do it by November 1st. And I was able to do it. And I was so happy. So I am very blessed and very happy to be part of this Beachbody community, because the very first time when I met Micah, she was my upline's upline. So she said, you need to be doing personal development. And I was like, okay. So I started doing that, and all of a sudden my life changed. I had motivation. Like I said, I got to Diamond really fast because I was motivated, and I felt like that was something that I was in control. I could do this. I could do personal development every single day. That's something that's so easy, and it makes me feel energized, and it gives me drive. And so that was something I really dug into, personal development, and it's been the game changer for me. So when I got part of the community, Micah kind of adopted me in, and then my coach, those other people ended up quitting. So now I'm for real as her coach, but she brought me into her team, and I was like, oh my gosh, these are all girls I've never met. She called me and said, do you want to come to a slumber party up at my house? I wasn't even part of her team at this point. And she called and asked me. I was like, I'm a total introvert. I felt so strange to go with people that I had never met, but I went, and it was the best experience ever. I was like, these people love me, and they've never met me. Like, they are just kind and just genuine and encouraging, and it was the most incredible thing to me. So from that point on, I just knew I wanted to be part of this community forever. And so I tried doing the posts. I tried doing all the things that would make me be like the other coaches I had seen. And it just didn't work. I got to Diamond fast because I went with all the people who knew, like, and trusted me. I went with all my friends, my family, all the people, and I got to Diamond. But those aren't the people who are still there. Like, the people who are still there are my people, and I got those people through being real and connecting and actually getting vulnerable. My family, like, I have a couple of my family members still part, but they're not active in the business at all. They like drink the shakes or do the workouts, not both, any of them. And they weren't the people who wanted to run with me and that's okay. That's totally okay. I wanted to find the people who wanted to run with me. And that didn't really happen. I kept playing defense as a Diamond for a long time. I got 2-star. I never hit 1-star. I got 2-star, and it was a few months ago, like 6 months ago. And so that's over a year of just sitting at Diamond. And it was kind of a bummer for me because I just played defense for so long. I was like, oh, I got to fill that spot that somebody left. And then I got to the point where I had that drive again, and I was like, I got to push. And amazing things happen when you get some momentum and you just push. But I think the thing that changed for me again was the personal development. I really dug into personal development again, and I've never gone a day without it. But when I commit and do personal development, like in every spare minute, my life changes. Like, my business changes, my life changes, my home changes, because my family, like, we just get along better. I am a much nicer mom when I dig in. But it also helped me. I really connected with Brené Brown, and she talks a lot about vulnerability. So I decided I needed to try being vulnerable. And it's really hard for me because we all know how hard it is to get vulnerable. But for me, it's been the most rewarding thing to open up and talk about some things that I was so ashamed of that I didn't want anybody to know. And that just kind of eats away at you. So some of the things that I talk about are my weight that goes up and down and up and down. It still does. Ever since I started my coaching journey or my Beachbody journey, it still goes up and down. Every time my thyroid levels drop, I gain weight really fast. I gained 25 pounds in June. And I didn't miss one day of working out. I didn't mess up my meal plan. Like, I had one cheat meal a week. Like, I was doing really good. And that is incredibly frustrating. And I notice myself slipping back into it every time that I start hiding from pictures and I start posting other things more and I don't talk about it. And it's really good once I finally can grasp. It takes me a while, but I finally get on top of it and I do a post about how hard I'm struggling or whatever and how I'm so frustrated. And all of a sudden, all these connections just start happening very naturally. All these people, just my inbox is full of people who are like, oh, I'm so glad you talked about that. That is so something I understand, or I've struggled with the same thing, or I felt that same way. But when I talk about how I got started with Beachbody, it was, so the night, I told you I was sitting with my baby in the chair and I saw the ad for 21 Day Fix. Earlier that day, I had gone to the dressing room to try on a shirt. I had no dressy shirts and all my family was coming over for my son's baptism, my baby blessing, and I had no shirts that fit. My maternity shirts didn't even fit at that point, and nothing fit. Like, I grabbed 2 sizes bigger than I had ever bought and nothing fit. So I sat crying in the parking lot, and that's the night I ordered it. So when I talked about that experience, all these messages started flooding in just very naturally because they were people who understood that feeling. And guess what? Those are the people who are in my groups, or those are the people who are on my team, because those are the people who understand those feelings and want to be on the other side. Or even when I'm going through it, you guys, right now is a struggle for me because every day I am in pain and I hate not being able to work out like I do every single day. I never thought I would be one of those, by the way, who missed working out, but I totally miss it and it's driving me crazy. But when I talk about that, it's incredibly frustrating when you're trying to do so well and then something hits, like my thyroid drops, or then I have to have surgery, or whatever it is, and I feel like I'm beating my head against a wall. When I do those kind of posts, you guys, those are the ones that people connect with the most, not like, look at my awesome plate. They don't connect with that. They're like, cool, pretty plate. But they don't want to be a part of that from a picture of your food. They want to be a part of it with your story. And so sharing your story is like the most important thing, I think, to get your kind of people and to make real connection. And even if these aren't people who are my customers or coaches, like, these are people that I'm connecting with, and it makes my life a lot better when I'm having genuine connection with people. I feel like a lot of the time it's really easy to do a post that's like, oh, Transformation Tuesday, check out my progress. But you don't talk about the feelings you were having in the first picture. So I try and really paint a picture for people. Like, so anytime I use my only before picture, the only before picture I have of sports bra was I made my 3-year-old take the picture because I was too embarrassed to even have my husband take the picture. I didn't want my husband to ever touch me because I was worried about the fat that he was touching on my back. That's honestly the thoughts that were going through my head all the time. I couldn't, I would sit there and think when I knew I wanted to be intimate with my husband, but I was so stressed out about it the whole time. There was nothing I felt comfortable in. I didn't want lights on anywhere. If I was getting undressed, I went and changed in the bathroom because I didn't want my husband to see me. Like, that's sad. That is hard stuff. And when I talk about those hard things, that's when I can get genuine connection with people. And you guys, I'm telling you, it is so worth it. Paint that picture of how you were feeling, how you grabbed your clothes, walked into the bathroom to change because you were too embarrassed, or how you walked past every single mirror because you didn't want to see your reflection. Or another one, I have probably 10 pictures of my kids during those years with me in them because I erased them all. I felt so uncomfortable that I didn't want I didn't want to keep them. I hated how I looked in pictures, so I erased them. So my kids now think that they went on all these trips with their dad, I'm sure, because mom's in none of the pictures. So things like that are what people need to hear. They need to hear that you've gone through those hard things too, because if you show that, look at me in my awesome bikini now, like there's no real like substance behind that. And people really need that substance. You need it too. It's amazingly, it's just very therapeutic to say what's real and to not hide behind things. When I talked about my eating disorders, that was hard because nobody in my family knew I had eating disorders for 20 years. Like I struggled with eating disorders. And when I started talking about it, that was terrifying. Like I remember sitting there for days thinking, how am I going to talk about this without my family seeing it or feeling bad, or my in-laws? I didn't want anyone to see that. And I got to the point where it was like, no, this is me. This is my story. I got to share it. And you guys, this is a whole new market of people who I hadn't reached before because I was too ashamed to open up about that. But not even thinking of people as a market, you guys, it's connection. That's what we're here for. We're here to connect and give people hope. I feel like that's when you hear people say we're hope dealers. You guys, so true. We want to show people that there is another side to that. And right now I'm like in the trenches of a lot of hard things. When I talk about that, people respond, and it just makes the job so much easier and so much more fun when you are having a real genuine connection. Because if you're telling people, I work out every day and I love it, and this is so fun, be part of my team, we work out, we talk to each other, we are on these calls with each other, be a part of us. Like, I don't think that people really, that's not something that people connect with, I don't think. I think that they want to know that you're a real person who has real life struggles. And I try and tell my coaches from the beginning when they say I'm not at my goal weight, that's like I wish I wouldn't have waited. I feel like I missed so much by waiting until I had dropped all the weight. That, I mean, I've lost weight since, but I feel like I missed out on a lot of opportunities, because when people see that you're going on the journey with them, not just you've been there, I can tell you how to get there, it really means a lot. And I feel like we are never at our destination. So talking about all the hard things along the way is just so, so crucial, I feel like.
I have a couple questions for you, Erin.
Yes.
For one, I have two questions. One is, if you've never really shared maybe a part, like where did you start? Did you start in your stories? Did you start just sharing little snippets? Or did you make like really long posts? Like what were some of the things that, you know, for maybe, let's say this is new for some people, they've never shared, and this is going to be a really hard part for them. And they, you know, again, we all have different things, and maybe you're not ready to share this thing, but you're ready to share this thing.
So the way I started was my first post that I did, a vulnerable one. It was a transformation, and it was my before picture. I was at my brother's wedding, and I wore the same outfit, the same dress and shirt 2 years later. And the difference in those was 75 pounds. And so it was a big difference, but I had the post on my computer for 3 full days before I put post, because I was so scared. I was so scared. But then all this love started pouring in, and it was a long one. I said, at my brother's wedding, I should have been happy, but I wasn't. I was nervous about seeing anyone I knew, and I didn't want them to see me. I wanted to hide. Every time the photographer told us line up, I tried to hide behind other people. And we ordered our dresses online. I got the very biggest size they had, and it was too tight. And there was nothing we could do because everyone was wearing, all the bridesmaids were wearing the same thing, and it didn't fit. I felt awful the whole time. I felt like an elephant among my sisters. I posted a picture with my sisters, and they are all really small, and it was really hard for me to be there with them and not be comparing myself the whole entire day. And so I painted the picture just like I just said. That's exactly what I said. And it was long, and I had probably more likes and more comments on that than I'd had in the last 2 weeks combined. Like, people relate to real. You started off with something very real that's going to catch their attention. Like, I should have been happy. but I wasn't, you know, or something.
Starting off with that first line, I think making it
Yeah.
really like eye-catching. But I like, you know, I know for me when I first started sharing, it was, you know, I didn't do it every day.
Oh no.
Like, and you shared little pieces, you know, you just didn't say, hey, when I was born, and then like, you know, you shared little pieces. And I think for me, what I've learned recently, especially, is that one thing that comes to my mind that I'm like, oh no, I shouldn't post that. That's the one thing you should post.
Yep.
So I don't know if anybody saw, like, I'm not saying this is like what everybody needs to do, but I was like so hot on Monday with our first workout, cardio meltdown. I was so freaking hot. And I took off my shirt, but the video camera was still rolling. And I was like, oh, I'm definitely not going to share that. And then I was like, why not? Why not? And I shared that picture of me in sports bra, which was to me disgusting, but like, it's like, that's real. That's who I am. And those are the people that I'm going to attract. And it shares a piece of the journey. And so I think whenever you're like, you post a picture and it's like the one like you don't like, or that's the one you probably should share, and share why you almost didn't share that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like, or if there's something that comes to your mind that you know that you've overcome, and we don't always want to share when we're in the trenches, but like Erin said, like then and now, and paint the picture of then, but then giving them hope and saying, if you go on this journey with me, this is where you can be. So talking to that person at front.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to ask you also is, for those that are married that are on here, did you have your husband support like right away sharing some of those vulnerable pieces, or did he know that about you? Because I'm asking, because I know for some, you know, it might be something you've maybe have talked briefly about your husband. You're going to kind of sometimes put some things out there, and it may not even be your husband, like your family. You might be airing some dirty laundry that, like, how do you do that in a respectful way to some of your loved ones? Because I know that that's a struggle for some people too.
Yeah. My husband was very nervous when I started posting publicly, because he's law enforcement, and that was something that was terrifying to him, to have anything of our family out there in the world. But so I tried to be really, really careful in the beginning, and I realized I just needed to be real. That was one of the things holding me back. I just needed to be more real. And our family, my family is very understanding. They are kind of, I mean, I have half my family who doesn't believe in MLMs, and that doesn't make any sense to me. That's such a blanket statement. It drives me crazy. And I have people who don't believe that this is a real thing in my family, but they support me. They love and support me. My husband's family is different. They mock me. I mean, and they don't like the things I post, but I block them from seeing a lot of my posts. And other times I just let them see it. It depends on what it is, honestly. Sometimes I'll block them if I just don't want to deal with them. But other times I'm like, get over it. Like, this is who I am. And I think a lot of that has come from personal development too, just being confident enough in who I am that I don't need their approval. Because 5 years ago, me would have freaked out for months and months and months over one little comment that they said. I would have stressed. I would have tried to figure out how to fix it or whatever. But honestly, I'm very okay with who I am, and I don't need them to like me and approve of me.
Which has probably become from personal development.
Yes,
right? I mean,
100% personal development.
Personal development, you wouldn't be where you're at. So I think that that's, if you are having some strongholds about being vulnerable, I'd say start working on that part of you. Start working on that, you know, you are a badass, and girl wash your face, and all of those that are really good about realizing the beauty in yourself, and that you really are unique, and that you have these amazing gifts to offer. And it's still a journey, no matter what, but I think that that's a big piece. If you're struggling on sharing some things. Now, I know some people have different jobs they can't post certain things about, or they use Instagram for more of that, or, you know, whatever platform. But I think that the gist of what Erin was sharing is that you are more relatable when you are you and when you're real, and that you're going to attract the right people. And the people that are those naysayers, you don't want them on your team anyway, or you don't want them, you know, as a part. And that's something that's so funny with Erin. I mean, I have 5 sisters. The one kind of buys Shakeology sometimes, but like you would think those are the ones that would be like, yay, and they don't buy a whole lot from me, but they are supportive of me and they see the transformation in me. And in the beginning, they were like skeptical, but they've seen the personal transformation and how much happier I've become and more fit that I've become, because I was not the fit girl, and how much I never used to love exercise. I played sports, but it wasn't like, it's just like, so I think that once you show them, it's like, okay, fine, you cannot be supportive, but I'll show it to you. And then you show it to them and they're like, wait a second, there's something about there's something different in you. So, but thank you so much.
And the people who don't, that's okay too. That's the point. You have to just be okay with that. Like that's, it's not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. But I also have gotten really good at removing those people from my life, whether it's somebody who I thought was a friend or who makes a really rude comment on my post, or if they send me a mean message, or if it's a stranger, or if it's a family member. I am okay with blocking them and not having them on my page, because I don't need that. I don't have time for that, and they're not worth my time. If they are going to tear me apart, then I don't need them. I don't need that. And we have cut down the amount of time we spend with people who bring that toxicity into our lives, like friends, family, everybody. We have cut out the toxic people because it's just not worth it. I want to show you really quickly, because you asked about sharing. So this vulnerable posts are usually how I share, but I did one for my stories that I got a really great response for. So I put it in my sneak peek on Instagram. So I just did this whole story. It just introduces me. I'm Erin. I'm a wife and a mama to 4 littles. And then this says, I love being a mom more than anything, but, and then it kind of says, I was really tired. I was struggling. And it shows some of my before. And then I did the transformation. One night late, I was up with my baby. So it's kind of the story I just gave you guys. And then it says, I decided to become a virtual health coach. So this is what I do as a coach. And I share my journey. I work in the mom cracks and invite other people to do it with me. Like, it was just I got vulnerable in there, but it was very glimpse. And I did this whole story about it, and then I saved it in my highlights so people can go click on it. But
you put it in your stories and then put it in your highlights. I like that. And then probably share it to your stories as you gain more people too. Some people do the same thing. That's one thing that I also had to remember is, even if you shared something once, you can share it again, even if it's a different picture or a different way. Because like, I remember when I shared for the first time that my dad had committed suicide, because I didn't really put that out there because there was a lot of shame with it, which it's like, that wasn't my choice, but I brought that on myself for so many years. But once I shared it, oh my gosh, I can't tell you the doors it opened for people. But I didn't share it for a long time, because I've already shared it once, so people just know that about me. Well, out of like maybe 1% saw that story. Even if you got 100 likes or 100 comments, how many people do you have on your Facebook? Probably close to 1,000 or more. I guarantee you there's still more people that don't. So don't assume people know that piece of you. So you can even share it as maybe just a different time, like a seed another time. Like, you don't have to share the whole long story again, but don't assume that people, and if we're adding people to our network every day anyway, they don't know your whole story a lot of times. So don't be afraid to share those pieces of your story that have made you who you are often. It's not to say, woe is me. It's like, I've been there. I know how you are, like how you feel, but this is where I've come. So I think for me, that's where I got stuck in the beginning too. It's like, well, I shared that once. It's like, okay, we'll share it again. Like, somebody else needs to hear that. You have new friends. You have new connections. Not everybody saw you. Like, you might think everybody wants to read all your posts. Like, you're not the center of the world. And so not everybody who's your friend read that post. And so you have to remember that you have to continue to share.
Honestly, and even if they did, those people won't mind hearing again, because you're not going to say the exact same words. And actually, that's not true, because sometimes if I have a memory pop up on Facebook that was a freaking awesome post and it did really well, I will repost it and I will update a couple of things, but I will repost the same thing, because I know that it worked and it connected with a lot of people. But things like right now, I'm talking about surgery and how hard surgery has been. And this is my 15th surgery. And it's the first time I've had a surgery since I became a coach. And it's a very different experience to have this community behind me and have surgery. I get sucked into depression normally, and I sit in this hole of not getting better for so long. Yesterday I went to the doctor, got stitches out. By the way, if any of you guys are nurses, you're going to look at this and say, dude, that looks awesome. I noticed from my post yesterday, but everyone else is like, that's disgusting. But all my nurse friends were like, that's awesome because it looks so good for 2 weeks out. Anyway, the doctor said he wishes everybody, all of his patients, was a coach because he has never had a more self-motivated patient who is that far along post-op at 2 weeks. So like all the exercises, I was further than, I was like, no, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this. And I pushed myself until I did exactly where he said I needed to be in 2 weeks. He said, nobody does that. So that to me was huge because before all the other surgeries, I sat and wallowed and played that victim card for as long as I could. And not on purpose, just because I felt like it was unfair. Guess what? I had shoulder surgery, and there's a lot of people in the hospital with cancer or with a kid with cancer and all the other things that could be wrong. So I have it way better than a lot of people, and my attitude now is so much better than it used to be that I can see that and I can live still in gratitude every single day. That's huge. So that's what I'm sharing about right now. People know I've had surgeries before. I talked about surgeries, but I'm sharing it in a different way right now. And I mean, you're not always going to say it in the same way, but I've talked about my experience crying in the parking lot several times, but sometimes I'll mention it real quick. Remember that? Or so grateful that now I know I can go and put on clothes in the normal section rather than when I was so embarrassed to walk into the plus sizes, like, or something like, not that there's anything wrong with plus sizes, that, you know what I mean? But it's just little moments like that you can share how far you've come very quickly. You know, you don't need to be a whole long post about it.
Yeah. So I think that that's awesome. So I think for our takeaways is, you know, no matter where you're at, no matter where you've come, we all have stories, and we all have things that we can relate with people that are unique to you, that are gifts that have been given to you so that you can go and help those people. So go out there and share. Obviously, you know, you're not in one post tonight. Don't make like and share your everything. But if there's something on your heart that you're like, wow, I've overcome this, or this is a struggle that maybe in the past I've had that I still am having today, but I would have handled it different and I'm handling it better, whatever that is, just be you and let people just see the real you, because every single one of us has an amazing light. And you wouldn't be on this team if you didn't. And so I'm so grateful for Erin. Thank you for sharing your story. It was really touching it when you shared about it in Utah. And that's one thing I love, I think, just about our team is being I don't know if anybody else can relate, but women can be mean. They really can. And it's hard to make friends as you get older. And it's hard to relate, or just to think like even our friends in like when high school, like it just changes as you get older. And honestly, like Erin said, like everybody on our team, whether it's Inspiration or in, you know, Team Fit to Endure and Power Crew, whoever, like we are all about, and even you go to the summit, like I remember Christy I think it was Christy or maybe it was Stacy, was like, I didn't realize so many people were so nice. Like there's always going to be those people that aren't, like, I'm not saying all Beachbody coaches are just like phenomenally open arms, but our team really is. And I think it's because Micah has created an environment of no drama, no gossip. Like we're here to support, we're here to love. And if you can't get on board with that, bye. Like
right.
Nobody thinks they're better than anybody. That's what I just love about like our team. And so get out there.
My husband has fallen in love with the community also. My husband now, after the first event he went to, he's like, it's crazy to me. And it was Mexico. It was our Mexico trip. And he was like, okay, so we're not doing any Beachbody related stuff. Like it's not trainings and that kind of stuff, but he's like, everybody is like walking personal development. Like they are just happy and excited and positive. And it's just very different from normal workplaces. Like I had a very different workplace and my husband has a very different workplace. So he was like, I want to be around this more. And now he came to Summit with me this year, and he doesn't want to miss any event. He wants to be at every single thing because he's like, no, it's like addictive. This community is just, you want to be a part of it.
He was like guarding our area in our group workout. He's like, no.
Like, He's like moving around, like blocking everybody.
Yeah, he was awesome. So, well, thanks, Erin. I know it's getting kind of late. We got people on all ends of the United States. I know Roxanne's probably exhausted getting up early. She's my Florida girl. So, but thank you so much, Erin. I really appreciate it. And everybody, like I said, I'm just really proud of you for what you did in July. Let's push it for August. If you need any help, post in our thread, message me, let me know. If I don't have an answer, I'll always help get you one. But go out and rock it. We've got lots of lives to change. So I love you all. Oh, wait, we got to take a picture. Don't get off. I do that every time. All right. And smile. Okay. I'll post it on our thread. Thank you, Erin. You're amazing.